And welcome back to the channel today, guys. I just want to upload this video. It's kind of a good news, you know, for the yellow taxi industry in the city. You know, I told you, before, and I've always emphasized in my videos that, even in the beginning I uploaded videos, I said, look, yellow cabs are more likely they're coming back, and they're coming back stronger, because obviously now, I could see a lot of taxis are getting improved as far as the cars. Most of them, they look like new, some of them are old, but eventually things are going to improve where most of these fleet, they have to kind of sort of improve of the quality as far as the vehicles, make sure the vehicles are clean, for people to use. But and there's another company also about this creative technology, which is basically sustainable base taxis. They gonna all use like EV vehicles, like Mustangs and Teslas eventually. So I made that video also. They didn't, that company is in the process, of launching, their cars into the city. And they'll be more interested because they're gonna see more people actually they're gonna be intrigued. The fact that these cars are more, the taxis are more gonna be like any other cars that most of the drivers uses nowadays, especially in the city. Because here, you can't use any vehicles older than 2015 when it comes to the Lyft and Uber platforms. But obviously it's good news for the taxi and limousine industry, because some of the videos also I mentioned, because like Uber was actually kicked out of Germany, Italy, some other places around the world, especially like in Brazil, I think, and I think it's Colombia. But now what Uber actually is doing is going back, entering this market and working with the taxi industry, where they're gonna integrate their apps into the taxi industry, right, within the app, within the Uber app itself. Because now in New York City, eventually, and I uploaded one in the video also, and I mentioned this like multiple times in my videos, because prior to pre-COVID, right, things gotten complicated. Most of the drivers here, especially the cab drivers, they lost their, they lost their medallions. Some of them lost their business. I mean, some of them went out of business. They bankrupt themselves, and eventually the city of New York and the taxi industry came into agreement that they were gonna bail out these drivers, and they did basically reevaluate their medallions with low interest rate, and they dropped them, they dropped the medallion from us, whatever they owed, to $100,000 to $250,000. So now, and at one point, pre-COVID, the city council actually, they voted on this universal app, where they want to make sure that this universal app will be integrated into the it's a universal app, where they wanted to vote on this universal app so they could integrate this app into Uber's app, right, driver app. So at one point, it seems Uber, they backed off at that point. They didn't want to come to agreement with the Taxi and Limousine Commission, right? And it's amazing now. Now it seems like Uber, they pretty much wanted to come along and basically get the apps to basically be integrated into this taxi industry, right? So now, like I said, I'm gonna upload this video like the one I did actually in 2020. I think it was on 2020 when I made that video, talking about the universal app. So you can see that Uber now, they give in, because obviously there's a shortage of drivers. Some of the drivers quit, some of them don't want to work, because eventually now Uber, they give in to the Taxi and Limousine Commission, and they're gonna allow the taxi app to be integrated into the Uber app. Like I said, this universal app is going to be within the Uber app, and you might not see the taxi icon in the Uber app, but if you request a car as a rider, you don't know what you're going to get. You could get me as a black car, that's where we are, a black car in the city that drive for Uber, or you could get a green car, which is green cabs. Green cabs basically are the one they work in the other boroughs. I'm not sure how they're gonna, because I know for sure that some of the drivers that drive these green cars, outside the city, I think they do actually work with Uber, you know, because sometimes in other part of the five boroughs of New York, you see, if you request a card in another part of five boroughs of New York, you might get a green card. But at that point, I'm not sure if they were still those green cards. They were still part of the Uber app, which basically some of the drivers that own those green cards, they do have the app and they use it in another part of border, like not in Manhattan, because those green cards, they're only allowed to pick up and drop off in Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx, right? But they're not allowed to work in Manhattan. So it's good news for the yellow taxis, because now they're gonna use their own app, which is the one they have within the app itself. You know, it's Curb, and so now as a rider, right, in New York City, because since there's shortage of drivers, you know, I don't blame the drivers they're billing out, and some of them they're gonna figure out eventually that working for these apps or just you're losing basically, you know, because using your car, you're paying for the insurance, you're not paying for the whole thing. I mean, this is something that we all talk about sometimes, right? But if you're the type of person that actually have a sense of doing, you know, like being creative yourself and working, you know, being street smart, you know, you can still make money and still cover free expenses, especially if you could do things to work on your car, do little things that it's actually happen to be more likely to could do it yourself and save some little bit of money by having to take your car for a repair. But and there's another thing involved, I mean, obviously, but now it's good news for the New York City taxis. If you're an Uber rider, if you request a card, you don't know what you're going to be getting. You know, you could be getting me as a black car or yellow cab or a green car, right? So now the taxis, the yellow cabs, they're going to be getting more businesses because obviously there's no work right now. So and I'm sure that this has been actually happening in another part of the world, you know, where Uber at one point they've been kicked out of some of the countries. Now they're entering those markets to work with the taxi industry, you know, like traditional taxis. Like same thing in London, you know, London, you know, most of the drivers are employees there, right? So now I'm sure London is going to come out and say, okay, you know what, you guys have no choice but to actually work with us. Also, I'm sure that in London that Uber has no other alternative but to integrate their app within their taxis, right? In London, taxis in London, you know, you can't just be yellow cab driver, I mean black car like taxi, because taxis in London, they're black actually, right? So for you to become a taxi driver in London, it's not a joke. It takes you at least 2 years, you know, and you have to know your bearings, you know, you have to know everything in London in order for you to qualify to be a cab driver in London. And I'm sure now Uber, they're going to integrate with all the, when it comes to other countries, because I know they're integrating the app probably in Colombia, I think, in Brazil, Italy, and Germany also, right? Yeah. So yeah, it's just kind of news, you guys. I wanted to tell you exactly because I predicted this before, and I predicted at one point, you know, I know the cab drivers are going through a lot recently, especially the one that own medallions, but they had a point where the city settled with them. So I just wanted to upload this video to tell you exactly what it is. You know, you could be driving a yellow cab right now in the city and you could still get rides through the Uber rider apps, you know what I'm saying? Because obviously as a rider, you know, when you launch your Uber app, you're gonna click request in an Uber X, like I said, and then you might get any car. You might get a yellow cab, or you could get a green card, or you could get me as an Uber driver working with regular cars. So yeah, guys, this is just a quick video I wanted to upload, you know, to tell you exactly what's going on here in the city. Guys, enjoy the rest of the week. You know, hopefully I could upload video soon, and God bless United States of America. Take care, guys.